Hey, this is Raul Ramirez of the Catch Wrestling Alliance, where we help you elevate your grappling and together we keep real wrestling alive. Thank you very much for listening or watching. So we're available like on all the, or at least I think we're available on all the podcast like locations, apps, and all that. Um, all right, let's go ahead and let's get through the announcements and stuff. So our UCLA class is still going strong. I think I want to try to organize something where the students there can do some kind of competition. A lot of them are more beginners, so maybe we can do something like more beginner friendly for them. There are some people who have a lot of wrestling background, like from high school and all that. So we'll see what we can do. So hopefully we get something going there so you can enjoy some of the matches, seeing some authentic catch wrestling matches and stuff. Um, all right. If you're in the Los Angeles area, if you're visiting, or if you live nearby and are interested in doing catch wrestling or training in catch wrestling, we're at Fight Science MMA. That's on Washington Boulevard, MMA school. Actually, it's really interesting. Congrats to one of my long-term friends from Fight Science MMA, Chris Padilla. He just got signed to the UFC. He'll be fighting soon in the UFC. A really nice guy, and he's big time into like anime and manga and all that. Really, really great guy. Actually, I should have thinking about that. Like, because he has a cool podcast that he does where they talk about like anime and stuff. So, anyway, look for him in the UFC coming up pretty soon. I think they already have a fight scheduled. So, anyway, there's that. So, if you ever want to come train with us at Fight Science MMA, we're there. If you're a UCLA student, of course, you can train at UCLA. If you're nowhere in the vicinity and you still want to train, go ahead and go to our YouTube. Oh, not our YouTube. Our website. Join the CWA Academy. That's catchwrestlingalliance.com. If you're on the East Coast, train with John Strickland, American Hook Wrestling. I think those are all the main announcements, except one thing. If you have some kind of knowledge or information that you want to teach online, go ahead and try to use the website platform, the all-in-one platform, Kajabi. It's what we use. You can get a 30-day trial. There's a link in the description box. So you can go ahead and try it for 30 days. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me about it, how to get set up and all that. So go ahead and feel free to check it out. Get that 30 days should be plenty. So and anyway, to kind of figure out how it works and all that, makes it really easy to have all your classes and stuff on one site. And if you want to write blogs and all that, it's all in one. So there's that, and that's in the description box. Okay, so let's go to the topic at hand. So, can catch wrestling help with your ADCC dream? So, actually, yeah, short answer is yes. But I want to look at one specific thing. So, it came. I don't want to say it came to my attention, but the other week, training in the jiu-jitsu class, one of my favorite instructors, he was talking about like, oh, in ADCC, you're going to see more people go to turtle, right? But traditionally in jiu-jitsu, like it's better to show your back to the mat, right? So it's better basically to pin yourself than to go to turtle, because you're giving up your back, but things have changed, or at least things in ADCC are different. And so like he was just saying how it's like, oh, it was it used to be considered a sin, right, to like show your back to someone, like to go into turtle even. And it was always preferred, and I think for the most part it's preferred to pin yourself, right? And so let them go to half guard, or try to get them into your guard and keep them there, instead of going to turtle. But with the ADCC, so just so everyone is aware, the rule is, if I were to attempt a takedown And so I got the person and we're going down. But if he rolls into turtle, then there's no points scored, right? So from there, really, I should try to take their back or try to roll, like basically try to pin them so I can, get, if it's in the points time, then if I can pass the guard, basically pin them, then maybe I can get points if I hold like side control or something like that. But I wouldn't necessarily get points for the takedown if they roll into turtle, right? And so that's one of the things we're going to talk about. And so I want to show a clip from the main organizer of the current main organizer, because I found this and I thought like he just explains it very well so everyone can kind of understand. All right, so let's go ahead and play the clip here.
Work on your wrestling, know what to do. If you get taken down by someone, my advice, immediately go to turtle position. That way you have a shot of not getting scored on. Your opponent's gonna try to take your back. So work on your back takes, work on your back defense, work on, high percentage takedowns like double legs, inside trips, single legs or slams. If you slam your opponent, he's just gonna go to turtle position. That's just my personal opinion. If you have any other questions, feel free to message me and I'll answer them.
All right. Okay. So do you hear that? So basically it's like, since there is like that half no points and half points in their format, where it's like, say if your match is 6 minutes, so the first 3 minutes will be no points, or basically you can think it's like a submission only for 3 minutes, and then more traditional points like grappling after, so the second half, so the second 3 minutes. So people can strategize, or people have strategized about that. So quite often what might happen though, instead of doing a lot of these really cool counters, or like what we call in catch wrestling mat wrestling, people will say like, so the way the rules go, if you go to turtle and they haven't done anything, they haven't like been able to get their hooks in or whatever, so after 3 seconds you can pull guard and you won't be penalized. So basically there's a lot of, it's kind of complicated, right? So for those of you who might not know too much about it or why things are done the way they're done, you're going to see someone go to turtle, and then after a few seconds you might see them roll onto their back because they're not going to get penalized at that point. So you're going to see people do that. But what might be a better alternative is learning the catch wrestling, mat wrestling stuff, right? So it would be, the reason why I would say the catch wrestling version of this mat wrestling stuff is because in amateur wrestling you'll have a lot of similar things, like a lot of sit outs and all, like switches and stuff. But with the catch wrestling, you're a little bit more aware of the submission counters, right? So I would say that is what gets a catch wrestling the mat wrestling of catch wrestling, that gets it like on the point where you would definitely want to learn it better and implement it if you were competing in ADCC rules. So, and actually, if you want, I would personally say, like, if you want to get really good at it, then you can use the turtle stuff or like the counters from that position, or what we would say like just referee's position or defense position. You can use all these counters at any point, right? So say like if you're doing a regular no-gi competition and you're unable to stay on top and someone takes your back, you can use a lot of these counters to get on top or get out from the back take or stuff like that. There's a lot of things in catch wrestling that that have been there for the longest time that will get you out of these bad situations and actually like get you like on top of the person so you can pass their guard or get a submission. So that's like the main thing that I want you to take away from what you just heard or what you just saw. And actually, because of that, we just started. I think the video came out earlier today. We did like the first video. I kind of want to do a series now because I think there's so many great things in catch wrestling, in the mat wrestling, that can really improve someone's chances at ADCC. But I think you can, like, once you learn a lot of these things, you can try it in other formats, right? But so maybe you can change jujitsu, right? And that's kind of what they're saying. It's like a lot of the innovations in jujitsu are coming from wrestling, but you can think that they're coming from like the amateur wrestling. And so we're not seeing, or I think we could see an even greater like impact on nogi if people knew catch wrestling even better, right? So I think that's my main point, the main takeaway. So feel free to comment if you're watching. Let me know what you think. So that's kind of the main thing I want you to know. And we're going to be doing a video series about it. So the first one came out earlier. Oh, the other thing on a side note, right? So through our kickboxing channel, if you don't know, we have a kickboxing channel. It's called Kung Fu Culture. Kung Fu's spelled with a K, and culture also spelled with a K. If you want to check that out, totally can. You're up to you. But we have a new self-defense like video course online. It's through that website, kungfuculture.com. So it actually uses a lot of the wrestling principles, stuff that is kind of interchangeable between kung fu and wrestling, but it's like self-defense fundamental principles there. So it's not anything too crazy, not anything too advanced, but it just kind of made me think of it where it's like the mat wrestling is so like beneficial, and it can be used not only in like an ADCC scenario, it can be used in like a regular IBJJF rules, or even like some self-defense stuff, because there's some of that self-defense stuff in our fundamentals for the self-defense on the kungfuculture.com website. So anyway, I just wanted to, it made me think of it, and so I just wanted to bring that up because let people know that that's available as well. So if you have any questions about that, feel free to comment or whatever. Totally fine. But so there's so many things that like kind of like the way things are taught in regular nogi or regular jiu-jitsu, a lot of it is based off of, say, like if you do take the back, it's getting that seatbelt position. So it's like the one arm under your opponent's armpit and the other one over the shoulder, kind of the collar. So it goes along that path, like from the seatbelt if you're riding in the front seat of a car. So that quite often, like you can counter often, like different ways. You can try to get the seatbelt off of you, or you can use like you can pull their elbow across your chest, and you can counter that way, where you almost do like a outside knee tap. There's a lot of different things that you can do to counter that person, and so then that is what makes your turtle, if you get it really good, if you learn a lot of the mat wrestling, you can get your turtle really dangerous, like really deadly, because your counters are that good. So you can make it where your strategy could be something more along the lines of catch wrestling, since catch wrestling has no points, one of your strategies to win could very well be letting someone take you down, right? So, and since you won't be giving them points in ADCC, if they take you down, you go to turtle, you can be using that as a strategy. So we can kind of see like some catch wrestling strategy kind of making its way like inadvertently into these modern grappling like tournaments. So I think it's something to think about. But then, yeah, you always have to then deal with points or losing by points and stuff. But don't feel too bad about it. Just, keep trying. Because one of the other things I saw, I think we kind of mentioned Michael Pixley. He's like a really good wrestler. But what you see in some of the matches that he had this time, sometimes it was just about him staying on top. And then he was able to win in that way, like by kind of like the amateur wrestling aspect. he did get a lot of submissions and stuff, but like in the semifinal or final, it was mostly kind of staying on top. Because so you do see like that the rules somewhat favoring like the wrestling aspect. Whoever's on top is winning, right? At least visually to the judges, and so you see that translate into actual wins. So it's definitely something you want to think about, and I think that's why you're seeing a lot of like nogi grapplers talk about how ADCC has become like a wrestling tournament. I don't necessarily think so. It's still very much jujitsu, but you can use your catch wrestling to really get like an advantage over your opponents, especially if they're like, especially if you go up against a really good wrestler and their level change is good. They're really fast and they take you down really quick. If you react like an actual wrestler, by not just falling back onto your back, pinning yourself, or if you turn to ref or like turtle, you're going to have a lot of uh, counter moves that like at your disposal, right? They can get you like past their guard, or you've got a sweep or whatever. Like you've rolled them over. It works a lot. It's really really good. So think about it. Like if you're inclined to compete in ADCC rules, and again, all this stuff should be fine in any kind of like no point scenario. Like if you're doing like no gi submission only, you can still be using these strategies. Unfortunately, sometimes like you might not have as long a time limit where you can use these strategies and then try to use the extended time limit to wear the person out and get them tired. That'd be one of these other kind of lost strategies of catch wrestling, since catch wrestling didn't have time limits traditionally. So that's one thing you won't really be able to use in ADCC, but you can still try to stay on top, try to wear them out, or ultimately just stay on top whether they're worn out or not. That will get you the win in ADCC. So that's kind of like a different or a difference between that and like traditional catch wrestling, where we didn't have any time limits or points. Right. So let's go ahead and play the thing again so everyone knows what I'm talking about. All right, so this is from the organizer of ADCC talking about like if so you get taken down and you go to turtle, you're not giving up points. So he's kind of giving people who complain about that. He's kind of giving them some advice. Okay, here we go.
Work on your wrestling, know what to do. If you get taken down by someone, my advice, immediately go to turtle position. That way you have a shot of not getting scored on. Your opponent's going to try to take your back. So work on your back takes, work on your back defense, work on, high percentage takedowns like double legs, inside trips, single legs, or slams. If you slam your opponent, he's just going to go to turtle position. That's just my personal opinion. If you have any other questions, feel free to message me and I'll answer them to the best of my ability.
Yeah, that was another thing too, because like a lot of times they talk about like, oh, you can get slammed in ADCC and this and that, but yeah, he's just like, well, if even if you suplex or whatever, they might just go in, they might ball up and go to turtle. So like I guess he doesn't necessarily see the value in that, but yeah, if you want to, if you're the better wrestler, if you're better at lowering your level, getting your double leg, try your best to stay on top. See if you can't pass their guard, pass their legs. You would want them to fall onto their back, but since ADCC rules are a little bit different, and if you go up against someone who's been competing in those rules, or if they know the rules, then they're going to roll over into turtle. So you're going to have to be aware of that, right? So they're not just going to fall back. You might not fall back into their guard. So you're going to just be aware of that. But like he was saying, like you definitely want to try to continue, because you're not getting points if you get the takedown and you hold them down for a few seconds. You're not going to get them. So you're going to want to just continue, see if you can't like pass the guard, or see if you can't take the back. So one strategy to think about. Hopefully you can maybe add some of these videos that we're going to be putting out. So check out our latest one. It's kind of a start. It isn't necessarily for seatbelt specifically, but I think I want to do some specifically to counter the seatbelt. One of the main things I was like, see if you can't block them from getting seatbelt in the first place. All right, but beyond that, we'll try to show a lot of different strategies, like if they got the seatbelt on. I kind of like how I mentioned you're in Turtle, they got the seatbelt in. You can actually grab their the top part, right? So the arm that's around your neck, you can grab above the elbow joint. You can pull that across. It kind of extends them a little bit, and you can do like a knee tap, kind of take down where you kind of roll them over. Maybe we'll do that video next. We'll put that one out next so that you can see what I'm talking about. So I'm not just like talking crazy. So if you can't quite picture it in your mind, we'll go ahead and put that video out next time. So all right. So hopefully this was like helpful. I think maybe we'll go ahead and cut it here. So again, if you want to help us out and you don't want to become a student, you can always become a member at our YouTube channel. We got a bunch of extra videos just for members. You can also learn from us online, CWA Academy. We also have one-off series, so like all these different online courses, similar to what like BJJ Fanatics or whatever. We have our own from our own website, so it's all in-house. We also are at Fight Science MMA, so feel free to come train with us at UCLA, the university here in Los Angeles. If you have something to teach, try using the website, the software Kajabi. We also have a 30-day like free trial. That all that is in the description box. So feel free to ask us any more questions. Then we'll probably talk about it in the next podcast. But what we're working on right now is video series to help you like make your turtle more dynamic so you can be more effective, not only in ADCC, but of course in catch wrestling competition, and I'd say even regular no-gi competition. Like, what if someone takes your back, give you a bunch of strategies to escape. All right, sound good? All right, let's get a fist bump. All right, so thank you very much for watching, and we're just trying to help you elevate your grappling, because the more people that learn catch wrestling, together we're going to keep real wrestling alive. All right, see you next time.